Be a part of the best pro wrestling podcast today at patreon.com/Steve and Larson. Enjoy tons of bonus videos, including patron-only live shows, gameplay, and vintage 10 for the wins, access to podcast question threads, the Friendo care package, and so much more. Support Going In Raw today at patreon.com/Steve and Larson.
What's up, it's your girl Sasha Banks, Legit Foster. You are watching Going In Raw. You like that?
Hey, friendo, Steve here.
And the Enforcer.
And welcome back to Going In Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you can be listening to right here, youtube.com/Steve and Larson. Taped live at twitch.tv/Steve and Larson. And, of course, found wherever audio podcasts can be found. Larson is on vacation, so the Enforcer has been kind enough to step into his shoes. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight, Enforcer.
No problem at all. Usually people see me on a Thursday, but it's good to see everyone here on a Monday. And we're going to be talking about Raw for what it is, man.
Yeah, so we're going to be solving some Raw mysteries tonight. Still no more updates on who Retribution is, although we did get some more Retribution shenanigans. There's actually a couple pretty big-sized things that happened on Raw. What a terrible metaphor right there. Some pretty significant happenings on Raw tonight in the build to SummerSlam. Probably the thing that, at least according to the poll that I put up, the buzziest thing coming out of Raw tonight was Randy Orton punting Ric Flair in the head. I know you got something on your mind as it pertains to that particular sequence. Enforcer, what'd you think of that final sequence there on Raw?
I really am glad that they did not have Rick take that RKO, because with his, as Orton said, pacemaker, was in a coma 2.5 years ago for almost a month. I'm glad he slowly went down and gave him the gracefulest of just dick punches and held him as he went to the ground. The lights out situation was a bit of a cop out, but I'm glad, because I don't need to see Randy Orton actually punting Ric Flair's head. I just don't need that. Like you said, he's 71 years old and Hogan's on his phone asking, how is it, brother?
Yeah, Ric Flair didn't have to say, "You got me, brother," because there is nothing to be got. Let me ask you this, because somebody asked, Robbie Deschazer asked on the Twitter, what if Retribution was only formed to cover up the Ric Flair punt spot? What if we never hear from them again? Do you think it's at all possible that they were thinking themselves, because this was weeks ago. Now, I think this is probably unlikely, but weeks ago, we had heard that they were going to be writing off Ric Flair with a punt, right? And it sort of never happened until tonight. Right. I do wonder, because Retribution tonight seemed really silly. I don't know how. It's funny because I even had at least one person say, let's see here, was it Mike Albanese, or I'm Tyler. I don't know who it was, but somebody on the Twitter said something along the lines of, oh, here he is. It was Randy Potts. Says, I disagreed with you and Larson on Friday, and after tonight, I humbly apologize. So even he was like, man, I wanted to see where this was going to go. Yeah. And now that I've seen, no bueno.
No.
It seems so silly, like beyond silly.
Yeah. What it really seems like is in that same meeting where Shane came in with that Raw Underground idea and then saw that Vince somewhat popped for and said, yeah, I like that idea. That's good shit. And then there was someone else there who had this stupid idea sitting there. It's like, God, that stupid idea got over. Hey, Vince, I got this thing, Retribution. Hey, guys, it's like Antifa. They're going to roll. Oh, yeah, topical. I like it. And then had no idea after that. He had the 10 words to begin, didn't have the 10 words afterwards.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you could tell it seemed like they ran out of steam this week. And I don't know if it was sort of like, hey, look, we got something here, because I don't know. Do they film it the next day? Like on the Tuesday, they film the Raw, or is it right afterwards?
I think they did 2 in a day last week.
Okay, so probably they were like, hey, this is something. There's something here going here. We're throwing Molotovs at things. Lights are going out. Let's just go crazy with it, much like with Raw Underground. And it just laid a turd, in my opinion, on both angles. So I wouldn't doubt if they re-rack, or if both of them just go bye-bye.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Raw Underground, I think that has some legs. I mean, they introduced Shayna. They're going to see how that goes over. Yeah. I thought Raw Underground was actually, again, I don't know if it had less time. It felt like it had less screen time tonight.
Felt like it had less time, and then there was like a dark match before the 10 o'clock that we had with Riddick Moss.
Yeah,
it was before 10 o'clock.
Well, the funny thing about that is, though, it was advertised for 10 o'clock. At 10 till, Shane McMahon says, hey, it's almost 10 o'clock. We're going to do, it's Raw time for Raw Underground. And they said Raw Underground's next. So 2 minutes later, after the commercial, you come back. There's still 8 minutes left to go.
Yeah.
Right? So they have that Riddick Moss match. That lasted all of, I think, 3 minutes. So
it wasn't that long at all.
It wasn't. So I think by my estimation, it was 4 minutes before 10 o'clock. Bayley came out, or Asuka came out for her entrance for that match. And so, that match obviously was, 20 or 12 minutes long or 15 minutes long.
Fantastic
and there's this
match.
Yeah. Oh, just a killer match. And then, Raw Underground was just sort of in fits and stops after that.
Yeah. It was just sort of like a stopgap. Like, okay, we have this ending part with Orton and Flair and Drew, and we have this banger of an Asuka Bayley match. How much time is needed to fit in with all the recaps, a massive amount of recaps as well. And it was just, okay, well, you just need to like pound on this dude for 3 minutes. Okay, fine. I'll pound on him for 3 minutes.
Yeah.
All right, there you go. Next one. Okay. And there were no strippers dancers this week. The smoke show and the pre-NBA basketball music was still happening. But it just, I don't know, man. It just seemed, I'm not digging it. I realized last week you guys were digging it, but too many of those damn cuts in between, and I'm just like, I just don't like the way it's shot.
I think one thing that I'm keeping in mind anyways is last week they filmed both the first 2 weeks. So they had everything that they had in the bag. There wasn't a whole lot they could do based on reactions. I mean, obviously one thing they did do is, you're right, they got rid of the dancers. They got rid of the dancers. Which honestly, after reflection, I was like, the dancers kind of fit because it's all cheesy anyways.
Yeah.
But whatever, they got rid of the dancers. The cuts are still there. I don't know how much they could have done with all that stuff in terms of like changing it to sort of address criticism. But I do wonder, now that they have a sample size of it, maybe if they hear the criticism that there wasn't enough, maybe we will actually get more. I mean, maybe what we've got is just the first 2 weeks or a teaser or a taste of it, and then we'll get more and it'll evolve into something. I honestly, really personally hope that it sticks around and they do evolve it into something more, meaty. People are noting, obviously, and the Hurt Business were nowhere to be found.
Yeah,
in Raw Underground.
Last week they said that they run this place now, and then they're not here at all, huh?
Yeah, yeah. So that was a problem.
And then it was a lot of the wrestlers, like the Viking Raider dude. I figured he'd be out there, much like the big 7-footer. I'm sorry, I forgot the dude's name, but I figured he'd be out there to establish the fact that this is where he's at. I realized that he had they were a part of a match.
You can call
earlier
it
in there.
You can call it that, but
dude, this show really had no flow, honestly, man. It was herky-jerky, start and stop. It was like rush hour traffic on the 405 out here, man.
It felt long. They did pack a lot. I mean, here's the thing. There were some really good things in this. I thought probably like if the punt hadn't happened, you'd see Dominick's like kendo stick to hell body on the thumbnail. I mean, it maybe should be on there. I don't know. Maybe I'll do a split screen. I haven't done the thumbnail yet. But my God, I loved the Seth Rollins Dominick Mysterio segment. I thought going overboard with the lashes is exactly what they needed to do. I loved it. What did you think about that?
I will be very honest with you. I was driving home when that happened, so I had to get caught up on it. And luckily, Raw will recap you to death. So I saw the mayhem, I saw the hits, and at that point, it makes sense why they recap. There are very few people, like the hardcore people sitting here watching it, this live stream, that will watch all 3 hours. So yeah, there's on ramps and off ramps of people watching it. I get it. I appreciate that. But yeah, that looked very stiff. That looked very aggressive. I was down with that because before that, I was sort of like losing my mind with this Seth Rollins angle where it's just like, all right, you yank out Ray's eye. Now here's Walter, and he's just going to get beat down and destroyed. I like the Joe stuff, but there wasn't enough Joe in this other than just being the guy who was doing the contract signing, I guess.
I do feel like I do feel like that they should like, we know that Joe's not cleared to wrestle. We know that. Yeah. He was ready to throw last week with Seth and Murphy. And why wouldn't he have stepped in this week?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't know if he's just sort of like, look, I'm trying to just be commentator here. I'm trying to if he was, that's one thing that I would like to see him be honest. Like, he knows, like, hey, his wrestling time is much more limited, but his ability to be on the mic and be an announcer or an analyst is there. He's got the chops for it. And I would really like for him to say, look, I'm focusing on this baby right here. And then even though if he is healthy, when he is healthy and then this Seth Rollins buddy thing happens, then he could actually take it to him. That's what I was hoping. But I realize you need that sort of stopgap, go in between. Hey, you're not going to harass my commentating partner here. You better step off. I love that. I respect that. But I would have loved it more if Joe could have gotten physical. Maybe
okay, so we're being corrected right here in the chat. I apologize. I did not note this. Larson, with his copious notes, probably would have. But multiple people here in chat are saying when the contract signing started, Joe mentioned that he was told not to do anything to Seth since he isn't cleared. Other people are saying the same thing. So my apologies. My apologies.
Sorry about that. I was on the road again. I was driving. I'm sorry, guys.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and kick this thing off. It started with that contract signing. By the way, my Steve notes are available. If you're a Twitch sub, a patron, or YouTube channel member, you can get my rundown of the show, which apparently do not include the comments from Samoa Joe in the contract signing. However,
if I could beforehand, I want to thank a friendo here that gave me notes for the first half hour. Vegan Squirrel, thank you so much. While I was driving, able to give me notes. Shout out to her. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
That's so cool. Maybe I should just have her start doing Steve notes. I'll have a ghostwriter for Steve notes.
There you go.
Anyways, probably a lot better than mine.
Or mine. I mean, I just got a white pad here.
You're like
Meltzer over here. Yeah, exactly. That's what Larson told me. It was like, yeah, it's okay, man. It's Larson does, or Meltzer does it that way too. I was like, okay, thanks.
He's got the giant yellow legal pad. It's the funniest thing. Like going to a PWG show, everybody's there getting drunk, and he shows up, polo shirt tucked in. He's Jack Daddy. But yeah, he's got his Melter notes with him right there, his Dave notes. Anyway, so yeah, Joe introduces the contract signing, and he says one of these men is going to sign 2 contracts, one for the match, the other for him being a WWE superstar. First is Seth Rollins. Seth comes down, and then Dom comes out with a kendo stick. He's got his own Tron.
Graphics and music, yeah, man.
He's got some music. He's still very tentative coming down to the ring. This is actually really smart, having Joe kick off sort of the promo battle between Seth and Dominick. Really, Joe took the heavy lifting here. Yeah. So Seth looks at Dom and the kendo stick, and he's like, what are you doing with a kendo stick? I don't see, you're not going to need that. You're a coward if you use that. Joe says, here, Dom, this will be a lot safer with me. And Seth calls out Joe. And Joe just says, this whole thing is sad, man. I see a guy who got caught up in his feelings, talking about his face turn, and decided he could do anything he wants. He says, Seth, you've given a kid with no experience, no training in the ring, no choice in this matter but to fight you. And Seth butts in and says, whoa, wait a second. Him and Ray both made the wrong choices. I'm the one who had no choice. He's saying, I tried to be Mr. Good Guy, but I got crapped on by the WWE Universe, so I had to make sacrifices. And when is that going to be enough for you, for the WWE Universe, for everybody? Dom says, gets on the mic, he says, it's never going to be enough. And Seth says, excuse you? And Dom says, you make excuses for all the ungodly things you do. He talks about, what happened to Alistair, what happened to his dad. He says, you change the lives of good men for the worse. He says, the greater good, it's just for yourself. Seth says, you're ungrateful. You're about to become a WWE superstar, and it's all because of me. And he says, you're right, Seth. This was my dream. But now my dream is to kick your ass at SummerSlam. And, yeah. So Seth laughs, and he says, hey, I tell you what. At SummerSlam, you can bring the kendo stick. You can bring anything you want. So you have no excuse when I end your career before it ever begins. Yeah, bring a gun, exactly. So Seth signs, Dom signs. Seth says, hey, congratulations. Let's give a big round of applause for Dom. He says, now leave my ring, go take a seat, go take notes while I have a match with your friend Humberto Carrillo.
Right.
So, I mean, my thing initially, when Seth first said, bring whatever you want, I'm just thinking to myself, well, Seth can use those things too. That's
right.
Probably not
Unless
a great
you're
idea.
Dolph, right? Like, only Dolph can say, only I can get extreme here, But I did like the fact here, and once again, thank you for the notes here, Vegan Squirrel. It says a contract signing here without breaking a table. Usually the table gets broken and the table survived there. What was this here? It says Dom couldn't last 10 seconds with him in the ring, which I do believe is the case. And if there's anyone on this roster that can take Dom to a match anywhere, it is Seth Rollins.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about that thing where him saying he's the best wrestler of this generation. He's up there, but I don't know if he is the guy. That could be something in the comments below if you want to go ahead and get into this conversation. Who is the greatest wrestler of this generation? And if it is Seth, tell me why. And all the other people that are disagreeing with you, let's have at it, boys.
I like it. Look at that. You're a natural. Get your own channel. Come on, man. You got to do that. He did say that. He said, come on, let's be honest. I'm the greatest wrestler of my generation. Yeah. But to make it fair, you can bring your weapons. I'd love Seth to be in just one G1. I want to see what he can do. I want to see what he can really do.
I would love it. As much as I'd love to see Mox in last year's G1. Yeah, let me get Seth.
Seth is the guy that I want to see.
Yeah, I want to see Seth in there. Absolutely.
This was kind of funny because Sven Man says obviously it's Pat McAfee. This Humberto Carrillo Seth Rollins match lasted all of 3 minutes, maybe it was 3 minutes. This was a joke. So Humberto Carrillo comes out. They have a match. At one point early on, Buddy tries to have a go at Carrillo, but Dom sort of fends him off with a kendo stick. Doesn't actually strike him, but he sort of stands there and
he just
gets in the way.
Flinch.
Yeah. In the end, Seth won with a stomp. It was all really quick. I mean, honestly, the kendo stick attack on Dom lasted longer than that match. I'm pretty sure. So Murphy attacks Dom like pretty quickly. They both beat him down, bring him into the ring, take his shirt off. At one point before that, Dom sort of comes alive, starts beating them both down, but the advantage number is too much.
Right.
And then Seth, a couple of really nasty shots with the kendo stick. You're like, oh man, okay. Then he tells Murphy to take the shirt off. Oh crap, okay.
Yeah.
Couple more kendo shots. Then they rope him. They put him into the ropes, and they just go to town. Murphy goes to the back. Man. Seth is on the front. Yeah. And this was brutal. This is like when RoboCop got shot up before he was RoboCop. This was horrific. That's like one of the honest to God, one of the most disturbing scenes in cinema. That's like probably top Maybe top 20.
I can't believe my dad rented that from the VHS store and sat there and watched me, an 8-year-old kid, watching this guy just get eviscerated.
Same. My parents didn't say go away. They were in the room with me. Yeah.
No. And the part where, like, you know, he gets that probe and like, oh man, great movie. If no one's seen RoboCop, do yourself a favor, man. Go see RoboCop, not 2 or 3 or the reboot, the original.
Have you ever seen the RoboCop 2?
Yeah, I've seen that one.
It's
That was the one with the kid, right?
Yeah, it's a pretty rough movie to watch too.
Yeah.
It's pretty rough.
3 was the one where he was flying, right?
I think they brought that back down to like a PG-13.
No,
I think.
but he was. Oh,
yeah, he was flying. He was flying, but it was
3. Yeah.
So after that, we had. Oh yeah, and there was a great bit too. They're just killing Dom with these kendo sticks. Yeah. Seth looks into the camera and he starts talking to Ray through the camera, saying, "Where are you, Ray? Where are you? Are you begging for mercy right now? Are you begging? You need to beg for mercy." Oh, it was just really, really.
He's saying, "Hi, Dad. Beg for mercy for your son, you coward." Yeah. And then I always found, like, you know, are you watching this? Are you watching? It's like, clearly, yeah, but his depth perception's jacked up as he's watching it.
So he doesn't quite know what's going on.
He doesn't quite understand. He's running. Oh, is that connecting?
Yeah.
Is it not?
He's like running into walls and stuff. So anyways, I mentioned at the head of the show, Enforcer, that, of course, Larson is on vacation. But earlier today, we got together to talk about an issue that all men can relate to. Let's see what we had to say. Before we continue, here's a word from our sponsor, forhims.com. Larson.
Yeah?
I want you to think long and hard about this question. What's a common issue that men face but don't always want to talk about?
Oh, you're talking about ED, Steve. 40% of men struggle with ED by the age of 40. But why do guys turn to odd solutions or do nothing at all when they could turn to medicine and science?
Science!
Of course you go with science, so check out Hims and discover the tiny pill worthy of a big celebration.
Yeah, Hims connects you with real licensed doctors and FDA-approved products to treat your ED. We're talking well-known generic prescription solutions backed by science and with Hims made more affordable.
With Hims, you can stop worrying about all those awkward in-person doctor's visits. You can say goodbye to expensive pills and injections in places no man wants an injection. Being your best means performing your best, and Hims makes it easy. All you got to do is answer a few questions about your medical history and have a confidential review with a doctor. If approved by the doctor, products are shipped directly to your door.
Yeah, try Hims today by starting out with a free online visit. Go to forhims.com/GIR5. That's forhims.com/GIR5. forhims.com/GIR5. Prescription products are subject to medical provider approval and require an online consultation with a medical provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. See website for full details and safety information. This could cost hundreds if you went in person to the doctor's office or pharmacy.
Remember, that's forhims.com/GIR5.
All right. Thank you, Steve and Larson, for that illuminating talk. Anyways, after that, we had another Retribution package, reminding us just how terrible it was. After that, we had an interview with, a promo. Zelina Vega came down with Andrade and Garza to have a match. And she, of course, once again claims she didn't do the poisoning of Montez Ford. I'm kind of disappointed they didn't mention, unless maybe Chat can correct us here too. I don't think she mentioned the attack over the weekend on the Twitch stream.
She did not. That was one thing she did. I was waiting for that to happen, but once again, I think that happened or was released over the weekend. So I don't know what they did. But one thing
that's a good point. That's a good, because it was taped last week. That's a good point.
It was, yeah. There was one in that Zelina promo, the usual thing. I claim my innocence, all that. But once she's running down everybody here. But then one line that stuck with me here said, I had once again nothing to do with the poisoning, but Andrade and Angel will have everything to do with taking those titles off of the tag team, the Street Profits. I thought that was good.
Yeah, that was good stuff. She's absolutely terrific. So that led us to Angelo Dawkins versus Andrade.
Lights go out as he comes out.
Yeah, that's right. That was, I think, the first time in the night that we saw Retribution sort of, do their thing with the lights. I mean, this is a pretty standard match, which had a pretty fun finish. So at one point, let's see here. Andrade hits the knees in the corner. He only gets 2 on that. He goes up to the top for what I think is like a top rope double axe handle or something, but Dawkins hits him with a forearm. Zelina goes up on the apron to help as he's going for the pin. And then Bianca comes running down, pulls down Zelina. The ref turns around just as Dawkins is hitting a power bomb, or like a sit-down power bomb for the win.
I think they call it the cash out.
The cash out, yeah.
Yeah, cash out.
For the win. And so he picks up a pretty big win. Immediately following that, Bianca Belair's going after Zelina Vega. They have a match. And this was a really fun match, man. I thought Zelina Vega, it's so crazy. Like, she's such a decent... She's like a really fun wrestler to watch, you know, because she's like smaller than pretty much probably all of her opponents most of the time.
Yeah, I got that early on Alexa Bliss vibe from her.
Yeah, sure.
It's much like small, compact, but you give her enough ring time. She's awesome on the mic. That'll build her confidence to actually, and of course she's married to one hell of a wrestler, even though Vince doesn't see it. But yeah, I mean, I could see big things for her just being that intergender tag person for Andrade or Angel Garza, or just her just striking out on her own.
Yeah, no, she's absolutely terrific. But in this case, it was a matter of her craftiness coming up against Bianca Belair's like ungodly power, because she is super strong. At one point, Bianca Belair completely destroyed her on the post. One of those corner post spots.
Yeah.
Oh my God, the sound on that one was pretty vicious.
But before that, I want to say, like, this is like will be the first of like 3 times that a thumb to the eye was done. Like, because she interfered with the referee got in between in the corner, and then she palmed the eye, but it was supposed to be a thumb. And I saw it later on again, there was another thumb to the eye. So I don't know if Vince has gone super hardcore into thumbs into the eye like Piper's doing, you know.
Yeah,
like eyes, I need eyes gouged.
Come on, more of the eyes gouging.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that, and then towards the finish, Bianca Belair hit a power bomb. Then instead of going for a pin, she just like flung Zelina over her own head into the turnbuckle. Bianca hits KOD, gets a 3 there. After that, we had an interview where Bianca basically reiterates, "Hey, you know, you're messing with my man. That's my business." And then the interviewer asks, "What about your husband?" And Dawkins takes over. Basically says, basically says, we're not missing SummerSlam, so we're good. He's fine. He'll be fine.
We're 2 weeks away, and I think Bianca at the end said, "Dawkins is up, and he wants to smoke."
Yeah, he wants to smoke. That's what he wants.
Yeah, he wants to smoke. So if we could get Larson on board with that, you know, help him out.
All right. So after that, we had the VIP lounge with the Hurt Business. They are no longer in Raw Underground for some reason.
Hey, I like this one. This was a special investigative episode of the VIP.
There were
lounge.
no updates and no horses, though.
No. But I like before that. It's like, this is investigative VIP. I was like, ooh, there you go.
Well, he comes out and he talks about conspiracies. And he's like, you know, I got beat by the lights, not Apollo. I'm a professional athlete. I shouldn't have to deal with lights flickering. He says the lights beat me, not Apollo. These are unsafe working environments. Apollo comes out, says, "Man, you're always making excuses." He says, you know what? Yeah, because MVP's like, "Oh yeah, you left because you hurt your neck." And Apollo said, "I'm not hurt anymore." He says, "I'm walking around with your title that you paid thousands of dollars for." MVP says, "You're a serial bad decision maker," which is a funny line. It's like a habitual line stepper, I guess.
Yeah, evidently, yeah.
Apollo says, "I loved this. I thought, man, I want to see that mean streak in Apollo. I want to see it." And he had it here. He says, "It's okay that I make bad decisions because I'm a bad man.
I'm a bad man."
He says, "I know you said you don't care about my wife, you don't care about my kids, but I don't care about Shelton. I don't care about Bobby Lashley. I do care about you, though. And at SummerSlam, the only lights going out are yours."
Yeah.
So then MVP tells Hurt Business to go attack him. So Shelton and Bobby Lashley go attack Apollo. But before they can get to him, he goes into the ring, goes after MVP. MVP gets out of there, and then Apollo just lifts that couch like it's nothing.
Just throws the couch, man. It was like it was like they went to the Goodwill and said, "Hey, man, just fling it." And they just brought it in, and he just like gave it a good heave ho, man. I will give that couch credit, or whatever it was, the love seat. When it hit the ground, nothing buckled, nothing tore off of that. That thing stayed together. They can use that next week, man.
That was solid. I'm sure they would have regardless, because nobody ever sits in those. Nobody ever sits in those things. You can tape it together, it'll be fine.
Oh yeah, no shit, right.
The Tenacious Curls here in chat says, as someone who didn't really know MVP when he returned to the Rumble, he has quickly become one of my favorite parts of Raw. I am shocked. I am absolutely shocked that MVP has become must-see for me. I was not a fan of his back in the day, but you go away, you get older, you get wiser, you get, more grizzly, you get more grit. And, dude, I'm a fan. I'm a big fan right now.
Yeah, I couldn't really stand his get up before, where he had like the one-piece like jumpsuit with the breather.
I know.
And I'm just like, nah, dude, I'm not feeling this. But when he comes back with the beautiful suits and the pastel and just having that just elder statesman of the wrestling business fits for him, man. Absolutely.
For sure, absolutely. So that led to an Apollo Crews versus Shelton Benjamin match. Hell of a match. I'm so glad that Shelton Benjamin is given the freedom to have these kind of matches these days. I think it's fantastic. I love that he's with Hurt Business. Apollo's in control early, but Shelton comes back, hits a power bomb, nasty power bomb, only gets 2. Shelton sends Apollo to the outside. Hurt Business sort of start to surround him. The ref's like, hey, don't touch him. Shelton comes in, brings him back in. Apollo gets control, gets a power slam and standing moonsault with only 2 on that. And then Shelton Benjamin picks up the win with the assist from MVP. And then immediately following, Bobby Lashley goes for a full Nelson. And before he fully locks it in, MVP says, no, don't do that. I need you healthy. And Apollo just kicks MVP in the head and runs. That was great. That was rad. Mr. Sinister says that couch probably told Apollo, "You got me, brother."
T-shirt. You gotta be a T-shirt right there.
I know. I need to get on that one. It'll be the fall line from Going in Raw.
Yes, absolutely.
Straight up Friendo merch. So after that, we get this cheesy Retribution. Man. Oh, we found out earlier today that they threw a cinder block through a door window. And then we see them do that, and it's the worst thing ever.
Are you sure they threw one? It seemed like they just rolled it up to the bottom of the window.
Very lazily.
And then it looked like the lamest WWE like logo that was just taped to a door or a glass of a plane that was just going to get destroyed, man. Oh, George says it was 2 cinder blocks.
Well, yeah, no, here's the thing. So they did one through the door window. And then they were like, I got another one. And I swear, if he hadn't been released and he was already with Impact, I would have swore the guy doing the talking was Eric Young. Because he was the guy who just had like a gruff voice. So then they get a second cinder block, and they threw that through the empty hole in the door. They didn't break another window.
Idiots.
This was stupid. Idiot.
Idiots.
This was dumb, man. This was terrible.
Yeah. I just couldn't help but just like laugh, and I'm glad. I think they went to commercial right after. I was like, thank you, man, because I don't understand. I don't get how you would be able to do anything after that stupidity other than a break.
It was terrible, dude. It's so bad. I am curious to know if this is because Sean Ross Sapp tweeted out, and I was thinking the same thing. This has got to be a gag. This has got to be a rib at this point because it doesn't feel serious.
Yeah, it's like also like, are they ever going to go back to what they were writing when they hijacked the SmackDown? Remember how they had spray cans and they were writing garbage? Ever going to like see more of that or understand what they're writing and why they're writing it?
I mean, all I gathered from that was that it was like the only one that I saw was the WWE logo with like a line crossed through it.
So they're Bret Hart basically just...
Yeah, 1997, exactly.
Yeah.
November of 1997.
Yeah.
So let's see. After that, we had the return in interview form of Mickie James. She's been out for like over a year, and she's back. She says she has gold on her mind. She's like, I like being a leader in the locker room, but I got gold on my mind. And then Lana and Natty, who are now influencers.
Took me a while to realize who they were.
Oh, wow.
The way
really?
they were I was like, who is this? Because Lana completely dropped that accent thing. I know she did it before, but every once in a while, she would get back to it.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But yeah, this one, and then they were dressed the same. I was like, I knew Natalia. I was like, okay, I see her. I was like, who's that with her? Because they were dressed the same. And then once she started talking, I was like, oh my, okay, fine. I see what this is.
Yeah, dude. So they show up, and Natty starts. Lana starts talking about Natty, and Natty starts talking about how she's the winningest woman in WWE history. And she says, I'm the best of all time. And Lana gets the bright idea. Oh, best of all time. Boat. Hashtag boat. So they're influencers. And Mickey's like, dude, you're dumb. She says, you did nothing but work off your family's coattails, which is kind of like I think it would have been a bit more harsh if she was just like, you are the winningest person in WWE. Now you're embarrassing yourself by just being like a TikTok person.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because Natty's got a hell of a legacy. She does.
Yeah, absolutely. She was the only wrestler in that time when they were diva heavy, and she had to be in these 1 minute matches that were just to fill time or get to a commercial. So I feel for her now that women's wrestling in the company is where it is, and now she's kind of influencer with Lana fighting with another person, the other good wrestler of that time as well, so I feel for her. Just bad timing. 8 years younger, she would have been on it, man. Absolutely.
Yeah, but she still has a great career. Anybody who die for.
Yeah.
And I get this is something new. They're gonna be bad guys. They're gonna be annoying. But yeah, and
right up Lana's alley.
And if Mickie James is the first person she works against, hey, I'm all for that. I'll check out a Mickie James versus Natalya match. I'm into that.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be one where I wouldn't know where they would go, which is good because normally in these ones when Natalya's fighting someone, Natalya's losing. Or Mickie James is fighting somebody, that Mickie James is losing. It's good. Here, when you guys make predictions, if they ever fight in a pay-per-view, you actually may be wondering who will actually win this thing.
So then it's funny. Gio here in chat says if Natalya was doing an MLM gimmick, that would make sense for her. Do you know what a multi-level marketing scheme is?
Pyramid scheme, right?
I think so. It's sort of like a modern day pyramid scheme. So it's like these companies, they
like Amway, right?
Yeah, it's like a modern day Amway, I think.
Okay, yeah.
They try to get like people,
and then you rope in people.
So everybody knows somebody from like Facebook, like several of my old like high school friends on Facebook, and they're usually women. They are trying to sell products that they pay for in bulk, for ungodly amounts of money, and then they try to pay for it. It's not even really a pyramid scheme. I don't think. I think it's just a scheme.
Oh, it's just a scheme. I'm sure Thayer Tabata is all about that. With his Ponzi schemes happening here.
Probably, man. Yeah. Anyways, so after that we had this little bit between Cedric and Ricochet and the Viking Raiders.
Yeah.
Again, there was like some attractive woman was there, and she said that Hanson's the cute one, and Rose not, or Ivar, whatever their names are. So yeah,
Viking
and then
1 and Viking 2.
Yeah, so they had a match. I mean, I guess you can call it that.
Yeah.
It was the Ninjas versus these four guys, and the Viking Raiders didn't take off their shirts at all.
Didn't bother with
Ricochet
it,
literally started because he started the match. And he did the crane kick from Karate Kid.
Yeah, it's just a goof.
Were you a big Karate Kid, Mark?
I love Karate Kid, absolutely, man. But I'm much like everyone else. I was rooting for the actual Karate Kid, Billy Zabka.
Billy Zabka? What is that?
That? He was the one that was going up against Daniel LaRusso or Russo.
Danny was Zuko? No.
Yeah, no. The actual dude who was the bad guy in the film. I thought, no, he's the real Karate Kid.
Oh, so you wanted Johnny to win?
Yeah, absolutely. I
Oh,
wanted
wow.
him to sweep that leg. Absolutely.
I don't know anybody else who felt that way. That kid had the just most annoying face.
Have you watched Cobra Kai on Netflix?
No, but everybody else, yeah, I heard about it. Is all sympathetic there, huh?
Pretty much, yeah. Where it's Daniel's now this super dude in the valley, and he's down on his luck, and he's trying to revive Cobra Kai, and hilarity and sadness ensues.
All right, I got to go back. It's worth a watch.
It's worth the watch. I haven't watched season 2,
Hmm.
but season 1 is worth the watch. I think they're like 22 minutes, 10 episodes. You could blast through it. Yeah. Oh, it's on Netflix now as well.
Oh, okay.
All right, so you can give that one
All
away.
right, I'll give it the first episode. I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
So, anyways, one of the ninjas, Tozawa's like, or one of the a couple of ninjas got killed or whatever. So Tozawa, the last ninja, was like, "Hey, get in there." Clearly, it was R-Truth. He runs away, doesn't want any part of this match. The Viking Raiders finish off the ninja that was in there, get the pin, and then Tozawa and the other ninja are going up. Tozawa sort of looking at what's going on in the ring. Meanwhile, Truth is bringing a ref down. The ref comes down. The roll up. R-Truth is the new 24/7 champion for the 38th time.
Hell of a run.
Yeah, exactly. It's like Flair. After that, we had a Drew McIntyre interview with Charlie.
So
and
dreamy.
he says, who, Drew or Charlie? Which one?
Yes.
She's like, you got anything else to say about Randy Orton? And he's like, yeah. He was like, I thought about it. You know why he doesn't help others? He says, for one reason, self-preservation. When he ripped that torch out of Mick Foley's hands, he held on to it for dear life, and he's still not letting it go. He addresses Randy through the camera, says, at SummerSlam, I'm going to rip that torch from your hand. I'm going to kick you as hard as I can, and Evolution has passed you by. And then Charlie says, hey, whoa, follow-up question. I just thought about this. What if Kevin Owens rips the torch from him tonight? And he says, well, if that's the case, him and I, we're going to have a long talk about the future of Monday Night Raw.
Woo.
After that, we had Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott come down. Liv Morgan's got a match. Seems like they are getting the Sasha Bayley musical theme treatment.
Yeah,
because
where
Ruby
they
Riott's music played first, and then it transitioned into Liv's.
And then they gave each other a high five, and they were like, let's do this.
All right. And then, so the Iconics come down. They have a promo, which I don't really recall because it was really short.
Do I have anything? No, I don't have anything.
They said, I just remember they said the future. You guys can blah, 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 but we're going to worry about the future. The future is iconic. So anyways, match is sort of whatever. Towards the finish, I mean, there was actually some fun spots here. They did like a double knockdown thing. They were doing some fun stuff. I'm not gonna crap on the match. But the finish saw Billie Kay try to get involved up on the apron. Ruby tried to help. Billie Kay gets down, but the ref sees Ruby up on the apron. Liv, instead of focusing on the match, starts finger wagging basically Ruby. She's like, hey, what are you doing?
So dumb. Yeah.
I hate that stuff. And then Peyton Royce hits her from the back and then hits her finish. That beautiful, beautiful finish.
Looks beautiful. Absolutely.
Deja vu is what they call it. She got that.
I'm wondering what's the limit in terms of like the weight of who she would be picking up. Like, could she do that to a Nia Jax?
Oh, Jesus, no, probably
right?
not.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Because like I always wonder about if she was to fight a Nia Jax size or a Nyla Rose type. Do you have to change your finisher, or is that even like, okay, we're just not going to fight? I'm not going to beat Nia. Just there's no reason to actually think about having to hit that move on her when I'm thinking of a finisher.
That's a good question. I don't know. I mean, the rumor now going around is that Vince McMahon is really high on Peyton Royce as a single star. So we might see her in that predicament at some point.
Do you watch her YouTube channel at all?
No, I don't.
I find it hilarious because a lot of times Billie Kay's on there with Sean Spears doing things, And then last time I saw, they had a massive Django where Tyler Breeze came over, and it was boys versus girls, trying to do this massive. And it's just weird to see AEW and WWE people just there, but yet it makes sense because I know Spears and Breeze are Canadian. Breeze is married to Peyton's married to Spears, and Billy's best friend. So it's just fun. It's just a fun show if you ever are watching or you ever see it on YouTube.
I wonder if Vince is okay with AEW stars commingling with.
I don't know. They don't use their the ring names. They actually use their shoot names.
Oh yeah.
So it wasn't Breeze. It was whatever Breeze's real name is, and it was Cassie.
Was it Mike Dalton? Is that what it is?
It was something like that. I think they kept on saying Mike, but I kept on thinking like I was looking for Miz. All
right. So after that, we had it's almost 10 o'clock. Almost time for Raw Underground, and it started 6 minutes early. We had Riddick Moss and Cal Bloom, Albert's son. They're fighting at.
Is that real? Is that really his son?
That's a shoot. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yep. So, and I have a funny story about how I know that, and I can't tell it on air.
I gotcha.
So, anyways, they're fighting at Raw Underground. They end up going to the floor. They smash into like some aluminum rods. They come back in. Moss hits like a big right hand, starts stomping Cal's head. Riddick yells, "Can you see me now?" So he's like the anti-John Cena, apparently.
So if I hit you with a stomp to the back of the head, you're not seeing stars, you're seeing me.
Exactly.
So your head, like Uncle Leo, is just floating around.
Poor Uncle Leo.
So
after that, we had Asuka versus Bayley. I have noted here at 9:55 Eastern time. Clearly, 5 minutes before Raw Underground
starts. It's got timestamps going here.
Exactly. So Asuka comes out strong. This match was just absolutely true. There was this whole sequence.
Submission.
This whole submission sequence that was so cool. It was so much fun. It was like Asuka locking in something octopus. Bayley gets caught in an arm bar. Asuka goes for a code breaker, but Bayley locks in an Indian death lock. Asuka transitions that into a knee bar. You got to watch it. It's so great. And then we had Bayley hit an elbow drop. Only gets 2. She gets a spinning back fist because she keeps on eating these things. Finally, she can dole one out.
Judas effect.
Exactly. A sunset flip buckle bomb, and then does the greatest mocking of Kairi Sane, and then Asuka just sinks in the Asuka lock, and Bayley taps out. This was a terrific match.
I thought at first, because I was watching it with some friendos, and they told me that the steps for Kairi. I was like, okay, but then they were like, oh, she's pulling out the Periscope. To me, it looked like the old Stone Cold. Oh hell yeah!
It does, huh? It totally does. Robert Channel says, why were there no stars in the Steve notes you sent out? My apologies. I sort of was, when I have a little bit more pressure on me, because Larson is like the foundation notes. I know that my notes are not necessarily going to be used to recap the show, although I can these days. Mm-hmm. My notes are basically just to complement his more comprehensive, more detailed notes. And so tonight I felt a little bit more pressure, so I didn't really have time to soak in the matches, give them proper stars. I will say this, though. That match I would give 3 3/4 stars. Going back a little ways. Mm-hmm. Let's see here. Riddick Moss versus Cal Bloom. Give that a solid 1 star.
I would give that a potato.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it looked like there was
that looked like a potato happening there.
That was a potato right there. Paula versus Shelton Benjamin. I'd give that a good 3 stars. Let's see here. Bianca Belair versus Zelina Vega. Give that a good 2 3/4.
Right.
Let's see here. Seth Rollins versus Humberto. Give that half star. That barely lasted a moment. So they were caught up on the stars. After that, oh man, Raw Underground again.
Raw Underground.
This time we've got Arturo Ruas. Man, I've been waiting for them to do something with this guy. He looks legit. The few times I've seen him in NXT, I started following his Instagram account. He's got all sorts of great martial arts stuff there. So he perfect pick for Raw Underground. He picks apart some poor son of a bitch. I don't even know who it was. And just completely kills him with a spinning heel kick.
That was nasty.
Man. This was great. I'm going to give this one. I mean, it's a Raw Underground match. I don't know how to really rank these, but I'll give it a star and 3/4.
There you go.
It's not like you need two. If it's like a real match, you give it 2 stars at the very least.
Absolutely, yeah. If it actually something actually happens instead of some bullshit finish.
On this one, I'm not sure if I should give it more than that or less than that. But Kendo then took on. I don't know who this was. Was this Leon Ruff?
Leon Ruff. I'll take your word for it. Yeah.
Okay. Man, I'm pretty sure we saw a guy get his balls taken off.
He was grabbing that brass ring. That's what Vince told him before out there.
He was like, brass ring or cock ring?
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, sure. Yes.
Yes.
So yeah. I mean, he
knocks him out with the fucking dick grab.
he was beating the shit out of this guy, and then he grabbed his dick, and then he knocked him out. That was awesome.
Yeah.
And then it's like he's like, who's next? Shayna shows up. I'm just bummed out they didn't let her like tap out some dudes, man.
Yeah, that would have been great. Absolutely. But yeah, it's weird. Like I was thinking, were the females from last week, were they the ones that were in the stands this week to just go like, oh no, we don't want any of this Shayna business, or was that NXT Performance Center crew?
I would think. I'm just pure speculation on my part.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that the ones that took on Shane and I were PC recruits.
Right.
That's
there
my
were
guess.
some in the stand in the crowd that did not get physical, right? Or did all of them get their ass handed to them?
I'll be honest with you. I didn't pay too close attention, but the ones that were noticeable were the ones that got their asses kicked.
Right. Because I was thinking, like, okay, like you have them paid for, this night of shoots.
Shotzi was in the. I didn't know Shotzi was in the crowd. Apparently.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I didn't notice her.
Okay. Rainbow shirt was Marina Tucker. All right.
Okay. All right. Good to know.
All right. All right. Good. They were. Okay, good. So they did have some. So they knew how to take a bump, which is good.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So Shayna shows up, and Shane's like, "Whoa, look at this." And then he's like, who wants to take Shayna? Nobody wants to take on Shayna. So she goes out in the crowd. She grabs somebody, throws her in, starts beating on her. And the rainbow girl, what's her name? Marina Tucker. She comes in. Shayna beats her up. Another girl comes in. She beats her up. And then all three of them are sort of recovering. They all rush to Shayna at the same time. Shayna takes them all down. I love this. This is great.
Super KO finish. Like all of them.
Super KO. That sounded too legit, man.
Play too many video games, man.
Super KO. I'm telling you, man, you got to get on that Twitch.
I'm here right now.
What's it? Yeah, man. Yeah, well, there you go.
Yes. I like how, if you don't mind, your next one you're going to, it just says Retribution overturned a car, and that really was all that they did. They just
didn't even put a period there. It didn't even show them overturning the damn thing.
No.
You know why? Because they didn't do it because they're too small.
Yeah. Braun strode out. Let me show you how you do this.
Oh, okay.
I'll do it for you. See you on Friday.
Here, easy. I can do it.
Yeah. Roar.
After that.
Sorry, I love Braun, but he's garbage right now.
Yeah, well, maybe when he shows up at SummerSlam and is a monster, he'll be better.
I hope so.
We still have a go home. We've got 2 SmackDowns and 1 Raw left, I think. Is that right?
Yes, we do.
That's right.
Yes, we do.
This actually kind of felt like a go home episode of Raw, to be honest with you.
Yeah, right. Especially with that ending there with Drew and Orton there. Yeah.
So speaking of which, we had Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens in our main event. This is a fun match. I mean, it's pretty typical for a motivated Randy Orton versus a Kevin Owens match. They took it to the outside. Kevin Owens got a couple of cannonballs in, one on the outside. Some good chops there. There was one funny moment when Kevin Owens on the floor, and Flair comes over, starts taunting him. Kevin Owens says, "Shut up and go home." That was kind of funny.
I like how KO was hitting Orton with a bunch of chops while he's looking right at Flair.
A lot of it was motivated by Flair, and that played into the story afterwards. So let's see here. There was a bit where Kevin Owens had his face rammed into the plexiglass. His about to be counted out. Orton rolls back out to break it up, sends Kevin Owens to the steps. So there was a lot of Orton was in control for the vast majority of this. In the end, Kevin Owens tries to go for a stunner. He tried to go for a puppet powerbomb.
Yeah.
Instead, Orton rolled to the outside. Then he dumped Kevin Owens on the announce desk.
That looked rough.
That looked really rough.
Dropped him on there. Like, I was like, ooh, man.
It did, yeah. And then Kevin Owens went for a stunner, but instead Randy Orton was able to counter it into an RKO. Got a 3 count. I gave this one 3 stars, but the fireworks happened after this match. Orton calls Rick. He's like, hey, I want you to stick around. We need to talk. He says,
so weird, man. It's like, you need to stop. You need to talk. Stay put. And then they go to commercial. Weird placement to put a commercial there, but
yeah,
you had to shoehorn one in.
Yeah, man, you got to make that ad money. So he says, listen, he says, I have every right to be mad at you for that match just now. He says, that match with Kevin Owens, it wasn't necessary. The only reason I had that fight is because your ego got me there. He says, but I can't be angry at you, Rick. You taught me everything I know. He says, do you remember in 2002, 2003, I got myself in some really, really bad trouble. I was just a punk-ass, stupid kid. Mm-hmm. And
just
no one came to save me. Nobody came to help. Yeah, he's crapping in bags.
Yeah.
He says, except for you. You bailed me out. He says, I didn't just respect you. I loved you. He says, but I don't respect you anymore. I don't love you anymore because you're just a liability. Mm. He says, the thing is, Rick, I know why you like me because I'm the son you never had that you always wanted. He says, that's all you're good for anymore is crying because that's all you are. You're just a shell of your old self, and all you do is cry. He says, you're not the Ric Flair everybody loved. He says, the Rick I knew and loved wouldn't need a pacemaker. The Rick I knew and loved wouldn't have slipped into a coma 2 years ago. He wasn't a whore for the spotlight. Actually, that is not true because Ric Flair's always been...
He's always been a whore for that spotlight, man.
He has been, yeah. So anyways, continuing on with the story here.
Yeah.
He says, you're a junkie for the spotlight. He says, you're washed up and you can't do it anymore. And Rick says, I hear you, man. I'm taking this personally. He says, but you're right. He says, that Ric Flair you came to be with in 2001, he was like, he's not here anymore. He says, I do like the spotlight. I like to call you the greatest because you are the greatest. So I can be in the spotlight. So I'm 71 and I'm on Raw. I got guys like Hogan calling me, asking what it's like to be on Raw, and I tell them it's great. He says, I want your approval. I want to be there when you break my record, when you get number 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. He says, my record, not Cena's record. He says, all I wanted was that when I woke up from that coma, when I was so close to death, was to tell everybody that I loved them. He says, at this point, I'm just Charlotte's dad, and I just want to be part of Randy Orton's life. So Orton thinks about it. He throws the microphone down.
Yeah.
They hug. They hug for a long time. Ric Flair turns around. Orton goes down. Low blow. And then very gently, like you said, he brings Ric Flair down to the ground. Yeah. And then he goes down and he whispers to him. And you can hear some of it. He says, thank you. And you can do a little lip reading. And, man, it was like probably some of the most heartfelt stuff because I'm pretty sure Randy knows that this is probably the last time that he's going to be on camera with Ric Flair.
Absolutely.
I think this probably means a lot to him. And so all those words that he was telling him, I believe that it was all real. It was all his actual feelings. And even if we knew every word that he said, it still fits into the character because that's Randy Orton. Yeah. He's like, man, I love you, but we're done now.
Kill you.
And I'm about to kill you. Yeah. So as this is playing out, the lights start to flicker because Retribution's back on their shit.
Of course, yeah. They're throwing cinder blocks through shit.
Exactly. So the lights start to flicker. And he goes back into the corner. Flair is down on the ground. He's in punt position. And it takes him forever. And the sound of the plexiglass is going.
I felt like I was at a hockey game.
There you go. You're in a good place.
I was like, oh yeah.
The lights flicker right as Randy loads up the punt. They go dark right as the punt happens, and they come back when the punt's done.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
If Retribution was, it would not surprise me if they were like, hey, we can't punt Rick.
Yeah.
We can't even do what we did with Christian, which is get a punt close to him because Rick's not going to be able to move his head like he did.
Move that it's sort of like we've written ourselves into a spot here. How can we kind of get out of it because we need to write Rick off?
Dude, it wouldn't shock me. It would not shock me if somebody just said, hey, look at what's happening in Portland, around the world.
Antifa.
You got these Antifa guys, these protesters.
Yeah.
We can
make topical.
You can also, maybe, because I had thought last week, I'm like, yeah, okay, maybe it's Antifa. I said maybe they're also making a connection, a very loose one with AEW, because AEW, like, all their big guys are former WWE guys. All the indie guys are smaller guys. So I was like, maybe it's just a really petty, weird, obscure, or obtuse shot at AEW.
I could so see Bruce and Vince doing a shot like that.
Absolutely. Yeah, but it could be just the Antifa, the protesting thing. It could just be that, hey, what if they come here and when Rany Punts Ric, that's an excuse for the lights to go out.
Right.
You're only wasting a couple weeks of TV time. It'll get people talking, and then they'll be done with.
How often do they ever say, in the years that we've been watching wrestling, that whole reveal of a group coming in, showing themselves, and they're like, oh, who is this? And then you just get like a press release saying, oh, these guys are called Retribution or whatever. It's like, that feels a lot like just a throwaway gimmick to get to a greater end, which is writing Rick off. And honestly, if I was actually thought of being in this Retribution, and then they're showing it how you are laying out this group, I'd be like, I wouldn't want to be anywhere near this group because it just seems like it's a fucking clown show.
Yeah. So honestly, dude, it would not surprise me if, honestly, what they should do is tomorrow on WWE's Twitter account, and then reiterate it on Friday, hey, the members of Retribution have been found and arrested. And that's it. And that's it.
Yeah.
And that's it. And here's the thing. No damage is really done. Besides the cinder block. But, like, no real storyline damage.
And the car tipped over.
They haven't interfered.
Lights, sound, like, that's nothing. Yeah.
They haven't attacked anybody. No storylines have been changed because of them.
Yeah. They're just sort of like it's like an enhancement storyline of it, That's it.
Yeah.
And you know what? I know this is gonna fall on deaf ears, but maybe in a couple years, long-term booking, say, yeah, I was one of these people in Retribution. I had to pay my pittance to society, and then I hit the indies, and now here I am, But no one's ever going to rope back into that. But there's always a way to actually bring it back if you want to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I don't know what they're going to do, man. I don't know if it's going to be a real thing. My thing is this, given that they haven't had an impact on any actual stories beyond the convenience of Randy Orton, beyond the convenience of giving something for for MVP to bitch about.
Yeah, I complain about. Yeah. Once again, small details of stuff like that's not the main reason why MVP has an issue with Apollo. It's because he beat him and he can't admit that, hey, yeah, you beat me, I got to come up with some bullshit. And to like not actually kick Rick's head off, let's dim the lights so that we got an out.
So here's the thing though. Beans for the East says people will just shit on WWE more if they just announce arrests and end it there. Y'all know that won't work. They shit on them anyways.
Yeah.
They crap all over WWE for this stuff. If they're written off in the most nondescript manner, they'll shit on them until the next cool thing or the next shitty thing happens. That's how WWE works.
Where's the payoff for the hacker? GTV. All these other things that have been sitting here that once it's run its course or they lose interest in is gone so quick.
It's more likely that they won't announce any arrests or anything. They'll just go away.
They'll just go away, much like everything. Someone will say, "Oh, they got go away heat," and now they're gone. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all it's going to be.
So after that, Drew comes running out, and he's tending to Ric Flair, and he's like, "Hey, send some help out here." Some help comes out, and then they have and he says, "Really, even him, you evil son of a bitch." and then he says, "You got it coming at SummerSlam." And they had the most vicious stare down. I thought it was really wonderfully filmed.
Yeah, that up close one with Orton looked disturbingly close, but it made sense for trying to get that emotion out of what had just happened, and then Drew reacting to it. So yeah, it made sense. It's just weird how close it was, actually.
So yeah, I'd like to know what you guys think in the comments below. Let us know what's next. What do you think is next for Retribution? You think they might have just been invented for this one thing, or is this a bigger story they're trying to tell? Or will we ever see them again? Who knows? I mean, I don't know. I would just say I guess it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me.
Of all the things that have just been shelved, all of a sudden, this fits right in with that. Or it could be one of those ones that goes on for months, and you're like, it was me, Austin. It's just like one of those stupid things, just like, and it's going to be anticlimactic the longer it goes. So unless you actually have an idea for who Retribution is, you might as well just shelve it if you're done with your short-term booking of it.
So let's see here. I got a couple questions here on the Patreon. So let's go ahead and run some of these down.
I will be working the live Twitch chat. So please, anybody that's got a question, I'll scroll up a little bit here, but anyone got a question, now's your chance to drop in a highlighted message and see if it gets read.
Quick shout out here to Sven Mann for the bits. Says, here's my bribe to become Going in Raw's Raw Underground correspondent until I can get to working again. I got the martial arts knowledge. They want to show it as a shoot. Sleep on it, Steve. Okay, I will think about that for sure.
Sleep on it, man. Think about it.
Let's see here. I'll let it breathe. James Rodriguez. Do you think the guys from Imperium ever watch Raw and wonder what Walter is doing there? You know what? I'll be honest, man. Tonight's the first night I did not refer to Dom as Walter because he paid his dues. He took those chops. I'm not going to do that anymore, man.
The kid looks good when they ripped off his shirt. I was like, damn.
I didn't know if he was an FPOS. I didn't know if he was going to have like Steve body.
I wasn't sure if he had that rib tape happening on.
He looked pretty good though, dude. He looked pretty good.
Decent, decent there, man. I'd be like, you know what, man, I'll take that. Yeah.
Oh, I'd take that in a heartbeat. Absolutely. Not now after those kendo sticks.
No. Because a week ago he didn't have very restful sleep. He was like Larson in that sense.
Yeah. Right. Let's see here. Dr. Steve Winters, did Zelina Vega watch The Room before tonight's match with Bianca? I did not do it.
I did not.
I did not.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark.
So anyway, how's your sex life?
Church Jackson, what dream job would you take a kendo stick beating like Dom took tonight at the hands of Seth to pay your dues? So
if I take a beating and then I get my dream job, is that basically what it is?
Yeah. What's the dream job?
Hockey player, and then they could beat the hell out of me with hockey sticks. I don't care if I'm part of the crew. Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, man. I'm happy doing what I'm doing. I'd take if somebody said, "Hey, Steve,
take some 2 sweets."
Yeah. No, if somebody said, "Hey, Steve, we're gonna cancel Going in Raw unless you take 30." I mean, nobody can really cancel me, but if somebody said, "Hey, this is done unless you take 30 lashings," line them up.
Yeah, because you don't want to have like a real job. I get you.
I worked pretty hard to not have a real job.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, what they always say, if you do what you love, you don't work a day in your life.
Yeah, trying.
That's it. Let's see. Yeah,
what you got over there on the Twitch?
All right. Let's see here. It says, when are we going to see Cal Jack on Raw Underground? Says Ryan Kalam.
That'd be amazing.
I would love to see that, the way that they're dropping a bunch of people in here and you're wondering, who is that? What's going on? I wouldn't doubt it. Well, I know that he's up in the mountains still, right? So I don't think he's looking.
Dude, that guy's a world travel guy, man. I don't know what he's up to these days. Sometimes he's in the mountains. I think he's got school coming back because he does like some PE stuff there at the school, teaching those young minds about how to wrestle your way out of situations.
Right. Absolutely. Okay, let me see here. Come on, where did it go? don't get how Larson does such a good job of this. What's the next weapon Retribution uses next? So they've used cinder blocks, pipe wrenches, or like lead pipes, chainsaws.
Yeah, they've used a chainsaw. I'm gonna say like a garden rake of some sort.
Garden rake.
Like a rake.
Okay.
Like
a hoe.
Like a hoe. I was gonna say a hoe, but I didn't want people to get the wrong idea.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Tyler Quint, if you were in control of updating Randy Orton's new merchandise, what would you pitch to Randy?
I'm sorry, what was that?
If you were in control of updating his new merchandise, what would you pitch? I would start doing like snake-based metal type shirts, like some shit that looked like some heavy metal shit, but like with snakes. The Viper.
How about like a all-over snake print T-shirt?
No, I would not. No, man.
No, I don't.
It's terrible. Larson would be here agreeing with you. He would agree.
Hey, man, I was one of the handfuls with the all-over Wolfpack T-shirt design that I bought from you, and damn it, do I love it.
I really need to buy one of those. I never did.
Okay, let's see here. When R-Truth retires, says Gareth Nicholas, for good, should he go out with the 24/7 title? Like when he's out, should that title be retired?
That's his baby. That's his baby, of course. He should ride off into the sunset with that.
Absolutely. White Brownie here wants to give you a bit of a trivia here. Who was the youngest wrestler to win a tag team title in WWE?
That'd be Nicholas.
Hey, I believe you're right.
Yeah.
I don't see a White Brownie's answer, but I think you're right.
It's Nicholas, yeah. Moses supposes, in kayfabe, what is the difference between a no DQ, no holds barred, and Extreme Rules match? In theory, couldn't you do the exact same things in all of them? That is true. Yeah,
it is true. It's just however you want to book it. Essentially, however you want to have it in your lower third.
Well, it looks cooler. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. Okay. Dang MQ here. Zelina seems like one of those types in WWE. Oh, come on now. Okay.
Good catch.
Seems like who would want use what chance against with fans. So I don't. Okay, that was a dumb. Not a dumb question, but I don't get it. Zelina seems like one of those types in WWE who would use the what chant against the fans. Oh, so they would start chanting stuff here, and she'd be like, "What? Yeah, I could see that.
She's good, man. She's good. Let's see here. Dog Authority figure. What are the chances Mustafa Ali is in Retribution? Can they work in the hacker gimmick? I wish they would. I wish they would just get all the storylines of the last 18 months that they just dropped, work them all into one big story.
I'm there with you. White Brownie says it was Rene Dupree.
I'm almost certain Rene Dupree was older than Nicholas was.
Yeah, absolutely. Ryan Rubik's Cube saying, Mr. Enforcer, real quick question. Thoughts on NHL return so far? I love it. I am in hockey overload. I'm a Pens fan, so pretty bummed right now. Yeah, dude, your team crapped the bed against the Canadians, dude. That's not a good look. Hugh Longheavy says, tell Larson to plug in and out by mentioning the pop. Yeah, I like that one. How we're saying pop, pop, pop.
Yeah. I could. That's actually not a terrible idea.
Whenever they're talking about it, say like Iconics cut a promo, that's got a pop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
White Brownie again saying, what wrestler would you want to win that women's battle royal on SmackDown?
What a great question. So it's going to be triple brand. I would say Rhea Ripley.
Oh, I'd love that. Absolutely. I'm there with you. Robert Channels. Sorry, then we'll get to you.
No, go ahead.
Do you consider Evil the worst IWGP champion? I know this is Raw, but would you consider him the worst?
So, dude, I am not gonna suggest that I am even remotely well equipped enough to answer that question, because I just don't watch enough New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Exactly.
I don't have like the historical knowledge of New Japan Pro Wrestling. In the modern era, for what it is right now, I actually would put him above Jay White.
I was going to say that. I think that was probably the worst one, or like not the worst timed one.
Yeah, that's probably the better way to put it. Yeah,
absolutely.
Let's see here. Joe says, was the kendo stick attack essentially Dominick's initiation into the industry? Certainly seemed like it, man. Yeah. Certainly seemed like it. He probably got a big, maybe a hug from Vince, but I don't know if anybody wants to hug that because, boy.
Yeah, I don't. Because, I mean, you don't want to hug him just because of how much pain and how much stinging he's in right now, man. Yeah, absolutely. Night by night here, and it's a good point. In kayfabe, wouldn't Charlotte want to get even for what Orton did to Ric?
Yeah. How about Charlotte versus Randy Orton at a Survivor Series?
There you go.
Adrian C. Where is Austin Theory? No longer a disciple or what? According to Dave Meltzer, he is on sort of an unofficial, unannounced suspension. I don't know if it had to do with any of the speaking out stuff because there was some sort of allegation against him. That's as much as I'll say about that. You can research it if you want out there. I have no idea if it has to do with that or anything else, but according to Dave Meltzer, it's some sort of unofficial suspension. That's all I know about that. That's out there.
Yeah. I know I'm going to butcher this name here, but it's Bits here. 100 Bits from Yummy World. Is Vince just trying to piss off the dirty libs, quote unquote, with this Retribution BS? This angle stinks worse than the dog food Corbin got dumped on.
I don't necessarily think that he would introduce. I'll put it this way. I wouldn't put it past him. I just think that Vince sometimes will take. He'll look at the news and he'll get inspired to do something, and he sees protesters and this Antifa thing, if it's even a thing, and he'll be like, "Oh, we can do that." Ooh.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's necessarily about his own personal political views, which probably obviously skew towards his buddy in the office.
Of course.
Hunter Vandement says, can we talk about how one of the Retribution members threw a cinder block through an already broken window?
I think we covered that ground.
We covered that one. I'm going to hit the Discord real quick.
Dr. Steve Winters just said there are questions on Discord. So,
thank you, Dr.
Steve.
Now. Thank you, Dr. Steve. Always keep an eye on that Discord. The Discord MVP, Dr. Steve. Speaking of which, he says, why are Marina Shafir and Jessamine Duke not in the underground? Seems like that'd be a perfect spot for those two because they've only done about 10 minutes total of Raw Underground. So maybe they will be. I think he's right. I think it is a perfect spot for them.
Absolutely. It gives them something to do, something that they're familiar with, something that would actually, show what they're good at. And that is really what wrestling show is. It's like accentuate your good parts, hide the stuff that you're struggling with, and Raw Underground is perfect for those two.
Alex Foster in kayfabe, why does Flair keep coming back? Seems like sooner or later somebody dumps him and he cries. Yeah, well, he loves that spotlight. Hogan calls him and asks him,
how is it, brother?
How is it, brother?
How is it, brother?
How is it, brother? You got me, brother.
Yeah.
I'm sure don't have you think Hogan was sitting and watching at home saying, "Oh, he got you, brother"?
I think he's saying, "I haven't talked to Rick in months."
Yeah, probably right. He's like, "What does he use my name for? I haven't talked to him."
I know.
Keep it kayfabe, brother. Protect the business.
Exactly. You see, my name was on the main event slot of Raw tonight.
Yeah, exactly. Up next, the title. Butts says, I might have missed this, but is there a draft after? If there is a draft after SummerSlam, that's the rumor right now. Who would you want to see change brands, including NXT? I want to see Kevin Owens go to NXT, man.
Yes. I would love to see him there. I would because I don't really see much what they're doing with Finn that is intriguing me now.
Yeah, I know.
I wouldn't mind if he was to go to a Raw or a SmackDown. Probably a Raw. I'd like to see a KO Finn swap if they're going to do it. Just because if you're not going to put the belt on Finn or you're not going to build a faction around him, what else are you doing with it? You know, so
I wonder if it's funny because Mr. Sinister here says AJ to NXT, and I know that he has said that you know, I mean when years ago when Larson and I were lucky enough to interview the guy, I asked him about NXT and if he has any regrets about not going there, and he said no. But then, like in more recent times, he has said, "Man, I'm totally paraphrasing here, but he wouldn't have minded going to NXT because of the match quality there." I wonder if he'd be open to that, and what Triple H could do with, and what Shawn Michaels could do with AJ Styles. I think they're both probably pretty big fans of him. That could be some amazing stuff right there.
Now his contract it's like a one-way contract, right? Where he would be still getting paid what he's getting paid. He wouldn't get bumped down to NXT
I doubt
levels,
he'd take
right?
a dock. Yeah, I don't think they'd dock him. I mean, they're making so much money off that USA deal that like Finn didn't get docked by going NXT.
But I wouldn't doubt if maybe say you're not going to be touring as much. So
according to Lionheart, he said he would like to. He said he would like to on his Twitch stream just the other night.
I think that is the case, but like when you were talking to him, like he was like, you know, the main dude on SmackDown. So he's like, why would I go there? You know, I'm already main roster. I've got championships. But now some time has happened. He lost his good brothers. He lost lost him. So maybe he's looking to. I always thought of this, and I think it's the first time I'm telling you this. It's the older. I don't want to say older, but the guys who have been around for a while, Orton and Big Show and stuff like that. I always thought of NXT sort of being that hybrid of the youth and the older vets that don't want to travel as much anymore, that want to stay in the South and just have that loop and just go to takeovers and whatnot and just film at Full Sail, sort of as a 3-month breathing period or a 6-month, just to like, you know, hey, I want to take a break. I'm about to have a kid or something's going on. And then I could boost myself back up there and sort of rebrand what I was doing. I always thought NXT would be good in that sense, where older talent enhances the youth and then gets revitalized and then goes back up to the main roster.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. One last question here. Oscar Granados, do you think they're going to pin the poisoning of Montez Ford on Retribution? I do think that it's going to end up not being Zelina.
Yeah. I don't think I don't think that. Maybe in an off, like weird way, if they really wanted to book something, maybe Bianca did it just to get heat on Zelina and the Street Profit thing. She really did it because before that, okay, she showed up when she got called up and then really not much of anything. So I don't want that to happen, but I could see Vince going, "Oh, you poisoned your husband." Yeah, that's where we're gonna go with it.
Yeah,
but yeah, I don't think it's actually Zelina because that's too
obvious. Too obvious. Yeah. Anyways, once again, Enforcer, thanks so much for being the fill-in today for Larson. Very much appreciated. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it. And until next time, we'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Be a part of the best pro wrestling podcast today at patreon.com/Steve and Larson. Enjoy tons of bonus videos, including patron-only live shows, gameplay, and vintage 10 for the wins, access to podcast question threads, the Friendo Care Package, and so much more. Support Going In Raw today at patreon.com/Steve and Larson.